Are you ready to hear the word of the Lord this morning? Hallelujah. The message is entitled, You're Not Handicapped. Hallelujah. You're not handicapped. Forgot to even put the title down myself. So, let's turn, but we'll find out what that means at the end of the service. Let's turn to 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 15. Yes, you're going to need a Bible today because we're going to open up some scriptures. In 2 Corinthians 9, and looking at verse 15. 2 Corinthians in the New Testament, just before the book of Galatians. 2 Corinthians 9, looking at verse 15. Shouldn't be too hard to find. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, Acts, Romans, and then 1st and 2nd Corinthians. 2 Corinthians chapter 9, looking at verse 15. Scripture says here, chapter 9, 2 Corinthians, verse 15. Thanks be to God for his indescribable gift. Hallelujah. And who is that gift? Amen. It's Jesus. Now, most people would say that Christmas is the most wonderful time of the year. In fact, we sang it today. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Hallelujah. Now, why do people say that it's the most wonderful time of the year? Well, besides all the Christmas decorations, the lighted Christmas trees, and the good festive food, Christmas is considered the most happy, joyous, and delightful time of the year because of the giving and receiving of gifts. You can have all the decorations, food, and Christmas trees, but if under the Christmas tree it's bare and without any gifts, Christmas would be empty and sad. Without gifts and presents, Christmas wouldn't be Christmas. Something would definitely be missing. Christmas would lose its meaning if there were no gifts. So, I receive more gifts and presents at Christmas time than on my own birthday. I don't know if you experienced that yourselves. And Christmas is not even my birthday, it's somebody else's birthday. It's the birthday of Jesus Christ. Wow, I get more presents on his birthday than on my birthday. And this just shows us that we can never outdo Jesus Christ. Now, did you know that there's power in a gift to change people? It can change people's hearts. You know, there was a guy, his name was Brother Randy Sykes. I knew this person years ago, over 40 years ago, and I was going to a church in Honolulu. And it was the first church where I had gotten saved. And Brother Randy Sykes came from the mainland with his family, and he was a major in the Air Force, in the military. And somehow, I don't know why, but his personality did not click with my personality. Now, he didn't know that, but I didn't really feel comfortable around him. I mean, he never hurt me. He never did say anything negative about me. But when I was around him, I just didn't feel like I felt like we were having good vibes. So anyway, I had moved to the island of Kauai. The church wanted to pioneer a work in Kauai, so I started this church. And when I moved there, it was a small little town called Handicapped. I don't know if those of you who live in Kauai know about that little town. And we lived in Handicapped Heights. Anyway, this guy, Major Randy Sykes, would come to Kauai every month. It was his assignment for his job. And he would go to Mount Coquet, and there's a military site there, and he was in charge of advising the computer people, as he was a computer technician. So now when he came, he would call me and he says, "Oh, I'm here in Kauai, and he said, I'd like to drop by and just, have some fellowships, hello." And I thought, oh, well, okay. And so when he would come, the first time he came, he brought a big bag of groceries. And so I thought, oh, well, why did he bring this bag of groceries? We have a lot of groceries, and we don't need this. Is this guy trying to gain some points with me or something? I don't know. I just was negative about this guy. And but he was a good guy, but for me, I didn't know the cure. So he's chasing after David to kill him out of jealousy. So David is running away in the wilderness, and he doesn't want to have any kind of skirmish with the king. David knows he's called to be the next king, but he knows that it's going to be according to God's timing and according to God's ways. So now, as he's running away in the wilderness, they don't have any food. So it just so happened that they came to a place in the wilderness that was close to this place called Carmel, where Nabal resided. And so he thought, wow, maybe Nabal would be willing to help us, because there was a time in the past that I helped him and his shepherds and his flocks and kept them from not getting hurt, or not one of them got lost. And so now he sends messengers to Nabal and says, can you help us now at this time, since we have this need? We don't have any food, so if you can really be of an assistance to us. He goes and sends the messengers to Nabal, and you know how Nabal responds? He says, "Who is this guy David? He plays dumb, like he doesn't even know David." And he says, "Who is this guy? I don't know. I've never heard of this guy." And he says, "I'm not going to give any type of food, or I'm not going to give any type of assistance to somebody that I don't know." And he denied David's request in a harsh manner. So now the messengers come back to David and tell him what Nabal just said. When David hears that, he is so mad. He is so angry. He says, "Come on, man, let's all get ready. We're going to go and destroy Nabal and every single one of his men." I mean, he's really determined to go and destroy the whole household of Nabal. So he's getting ready. Now, somehow the word gets to Nabal's wife, Abigail. Messenger comes to Abigail and tells Abigail, "You know what? David is coming, and he's going to destroy Nabal, and he's going to destroy all the men that's here." Now, David's reputation is very well known in the land, because they know that David had killed Goliath. Also, David was going in and out of Jerusalem, destroying other armies, enemy armies. So when they heard that David was now coming to destroy them, wow, they got scared. And so they told Abigail, "Your husband has denied his request." And so she says, wow, we've got to do something really quick. Now, she's really a smart woman. So you know what she did? She prepared what? Presents. She prepared gifts. Now I want you to read the story, okay? With me. Hallelujah. So let's look here. In fact, let's read verse 12 and 13. First of all, 12 and 13. No, just skip that. Let's go to 14. Now, when one of the young men told Abigail, Nabal's wife, saying, "Look, David sent messengers from the wilderness to greet my master, and he reviled them." He was very rude and insulting to them. "But the men were very good to us, and we were not hurt, nor did we miss anything as long as we accompanied them when we were in the fields." In other words, he's talking about how David's men and how David had helped them in the past. "They were a wall of protection to us both by night and day, all the time we were with them keeping the sheep. Now therefore, know and consider," she's telling Abigail, "what you will do. For harm is determined against our master, that's Nabal, and against all his household. And even this messenger says, for he is such a scoundrel that one cannot speak to him. In other words, he's so stubborn-headed and he's so hard-headed that nobody can talk to him. Then Abigail made haste, look at this now, and took 200 loaves of bread, 2 skins of wine, 5 sheep already dressed, 5 seahs of roasted grain, 100 clusters of raisins, 200 cakes of figs, and loaded them on donkeys. Look at this fantastic Christmas meal, man. And she said to her servants, go on before me. See, I'm coming after you. But she did not tell her husband Nabal. She didn't tell him what she was doing. So it was, verse 20, as she rode on the donkey, that she went down under cover on the hill, and there were David and his men coming down toward her, and she met them. Now David had said, surely in vain I have protected all that this fellow has in the wilderness, so that nothing was missed of all that belongs to him, and he has repaid me evil for good. This is how David is just panting with rage. May God do so and more also to the enemies of David, if I leave one male of all who belong to him by morning light. In other words, by morning I want to kill every single one of his men. Now, verse 23, when Abigail saw David, she dismounted quickly from the donkey, fell on her face before David, and bowed to the ground. She comes now with humility. And then she fell at his feet and said, on me, my Lord, on me let this iniquity be. Isn't that just like what Christ has done for us? That he would take the blame for us? And so she says, and please let your maidservant speak in your ears, and hear the words of your maidservant. Please let not my Lord regard this scoundrel, Nabal, calling her husband scoundrel Nabal, for as his name is, so is he. He's a fool. Nabal, fool is his name. I mean, I don't know how he got that name, but it's so fitting, right? And folly, foolishness is with him. But I, your maidservant, did not see the young men of my Lord whom you sent. When you initially sent the messengers, I wasn't there, and I didn't hear about what took place. And so now he says, therefore, my Lord, as the Lord lives and as your soul lives, as my Lord lives and as your soul lives, and therefore, my Lord, as the Lord lives and as your soul lives, since the Lord has held you back from coming to bloodshed and from avenging yourself with your own hand, now then let your enemies and those who seek harm for my Lord be as Nabal. And now this present, these gifts, which your maidservant has brought to my Lord, let it be given to the young men who follow my Lord. Please forgive the trespass of your maidservant, for the Lord will certainly make for my Lord an enduring house, because my Lord fights the battles of the Lord, and evil is not found in you throughout your days. Yet a man, in other words, King Saul, has risen to pursue you and seek your life, but the life of my Lord shall be found in the bundle of the living with the Lord your God, and the lives of your enemies he shall sling out as from the pocket of a sling. And it shall come to pass, when the Lord has done for my Lord, according to all the good that he has spoken concerning you, and has appointed you ruler over Israel. In other words, when God makes you king over Israel, that this will be no grief to you, nor offense of heart to my Lord, either that you have shed blood without cause, or that my Lord has avenged himself. But when the Lord has dealt well with my Lord, then remember your maidservant. In other words, don't allow yourself to be so enraged to kill and to shed blood unnecessarily, because when you become king, she says, I don't want this to be a blemish on your record. So she's